Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go into Village, Facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch. Buy our merch indeed. So, we are in just the beginning of our nightly stream. As of late, it's become a nightly thing, almost. We are doing a whole song list. Our DJ tonight is the Wackator.
Yes.
And the first song, or songs that he has, are, it's Dream Theater, The Mirror, Lie. So I think it's 2 songs that are kind of
there's 2
together.
Yeah, one song's called The Mirror, the other song's The Lie. But apparently they basically
go together.
You have to listen to them together.
Yes, but he paid for both, so don't.
You didn't have to say that, filthy capitalist. Sori.
Well, I just want people to know, because then everybody will say, "Well, can I do 2 songs?" No.
I mean, you can if you pay for them both.
Right, but that's why I wanted people to know that.
All right, so it's The Mirror, and then the song right after it is Lie.
Lie.
And I'm pretty certain that we'll probably be the first reactors to react to both of them back to back. Are we doing them all in one song?
Back to back. Yeah, these 2 go together.
And then we'll comment on both.
Yep.
Okay. Holy moly. Okay. Black Queen, we are doing The Mirror / Lie from the band Dream Theater. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. This is The Mirror, Lie, Dream Theater. Remember, it's both songs, ladies and gents. It's both songs, so that's why the song is so long. Okay. Go to downloads, Dream Theater, Mirror, Lie, hit play. You got the lyrics. Oh, starting off heavy. This guitarist is legendary from this band.
I haven't behaved as I should.
Everything you need is around you. The only danger is uncertainty.
I thought you could control all that. But it's not like that. There are things you can't control.
Oh, rumbling bass, rumbling bass. I didn't know Dream Theater could get heavy.
Trust me, I can trust you. Just let me show you. But I gotta work it out in a shadow of doubt, 'cause I don't know if I know you.
This is live now, right?
Too me, I can trust you as far as I can throw you. And I'm trying to get out of a shadow of doubt, 'cause I don't know if I know you. Don't tell me you wanted me. Don't tell me you thought of me. I won't. I swear I won't. I'll try. I swear I'll try. Mother Mary, quite contrary. Kiss the boys and make them weary. Things are getting just a little bit scary. It's a wonder I can still breathe. Never been much of a doubting Thomas, but nothing breaks like a broken promise.
Whoa.
Tell me about your two more common. One's just enough for me. Don't tell me you wanted me. Don't tell me you thought of me. I won't. I swear I won't. I'll try. I swear I'll try.
This dude can sing, bro. A little vibrato. Whoa!
I had gotten used to being so destroyed.
Jeez.
Comes in a bright way to fill the void. Our dogs need a leash and at least I'll forget it. And she would never hurt me though she's never said it. But I'm not gonna ask her today. I don't wanna scare her away. Oh yeah, Ted, I'm all alone and I just can't stare at the phone. I wanna talk about lifelong mistakes. You can't tell your stepfather I said.
Whoa! Shots fired. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Don't tell me you wanted me. Don't tell me you thought
Get the lids back, get the lids back.
I swear I won't. I'll try. I swear I'll try.
Oh, chunky. Yup. This Petrucci guy is he's a problem, this guy. Whoa! I was about to start drumming along with
it. Interesting.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna end it on that.
Yep.
Just end it on that. Yeah, that. See, if I would have come over with a riff like that, I'd be like, oh, yo, we riding that shit the whole song, bro. Or I'd have just like put it in the middle. You know what I'm saying? For like a cool breakdown.
Well,
that I would have centered that entire thing, but you know, that's the funny thing about these guys is like shit that I'm like, oh my god, they're like, yeah, I'll just do that for like 4 seconds. Throw it
must
away.
be nice.
Yeah. These guys are ridiculously. I feel like these people are like these guys are kind of like the Avengers, right? Like everybody in the band is like a superhero.
Oh,
that Petrucci dude, the guitarist is like. Who did we interview? We interviewed that guy from Periphery. Mm-hmm. You know, Periphery is the only band that's covered that song. They didn't do a very good job of it either. Not in the sense that it was bad. It was just
they covered that one.
Yeah, it wasn't
the one that I've been listening to nonstop.
Yeah, but it wasn't really like. It was the same song, only they just put some guitars in it. Like there was no like metal version of it, so.
Yeah,
I think that's we've got an opening there. Mm-hmm. She says, "Who's the Wacky Tour in chat?" The
that's
Wacky Tour
his name.
is
You'll
in
see
the
him
chat
when he wants to be
his
seen.
His name is Wacky Tour. Also, that's Viet Cong Forever. This is my guy, man. I think we hooked up on Middle America, but he's got these amazing like landscapes of Vietnam.
Oh,
it's unbelievable.
Oh
it's
yeah, you told me about it.
Such a beautiful country that place is. Holy moly.
So lyrically here, I thought the beginning.
Okay, 2 seconds. So if you're just tell the people that it's 2 songs, I think is what I want, what I need.
Okay, so this one song was The Mirror and Lie. Both of them are Dream Theater songs that come back to back on the album. The Wackator wanted these done in a song review, so we are combining them. So we're going to break down the lyrics a little bit more quickly because we have 2 songs to kind of go through. But I want to focus on verse 1. I thought verse 1
was... Which song?
The Mirror.
Okay, so we're going to the first part, which is The Mirror, verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
So he says, temptation, why won't you leave me alone, lurking every corner, everywhere I go? Self-control, don't turn your back on me now when I need you the most. Constant pressure tests my will or my won't. My self-control escapes from me still. And I thought it was a really interesting verse because one is I think that most of us have had our bouts with temptation. And I say most of us because some people never fight their temptations, so they don't know what it is to really battle your temptations.
It's true.
And so if you're constantly giving into your temptations all the time, you don't have the self-control necessary. Like when you're begging self-control to help you out, you know that you're somebody that lacks a massive amount of self-control, because self-control is kind of one of those things that once you have it, it's just working in the background like when you're breathing. So you don't even really realize that you're exercising self-control because you have so much of it. So when you're at the point where you're like, I need it, in that particular situation, it's probably because you have not gained the self-control necessary to be able to grow that part of yourself. That's been my experience.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree with that.
And why?
So you're saying if a person's calling on their self-control, that means that they're not using it?
No, I'm saying like, so for instance, no, I'm not going to use that example. It's like a little bit too close to your home. Like basically if, let's say somebody is always used to, anytime somebody cuts them off in traffic, they blow up and they give somebody the finger.
Yeah.
So they then the next time that it happens, if they're really trying to not react like that, it's going to be extremely difficult. They're going to be like, I need self-control, because it's going to be so hard for them not to do it. But somebody who exercises that all the time, like when somebody flips me off in traffic, which happens semi-regularly, it makes me laugh for the most part.
That happens to you regularly?
Oh, yeah.
That's really interesting. I did not know that happened regularly with you.
Oh, yeah, it had to happen multiple times when the kids have been in the car, too. It's like, and I don't even think that I'm driving, any particular way, but they will. Well, the thing
you're
is,
saying, yeah,
I pull
I
out
just...
into traffic when I see an opening, and people don't like that sometimes. So, anyway, So what I'm saying is that when you exercise, like when you fight temptation, it starts building your self-control. If you're in a situation where you've never had to exercise self-control, let's say it's a guy with pornography, and all of a sudden he says, holy shit, girls are being trafficked in a lot of these videos. Like, I could be getting my sexual pleasures off of someone being trafficked. Okay, I'm not good with that. I really need to not do that. But then when they start getting that feeling or that thought that they want to go and look at pornography, they've never had to exercise self-control in that area because they've just let themselves just look at whatever. So now when they're trying to exercise it, it's going to be like, oh, I need self-control here because they have not exercised that muscle. Where somebody that exercises that muscle and does not let themselves look at pornography or whatever situation it is, after a while of practicing that fighting, resisting that temptation, it gets easier. And sometimes you're using self-control, but it seems effortless. You don't even realize that you were using it, but you were.
Yeah.
When it's almost like unconscious.
I completely disagree with that.
Okay, why?
So I initially kind of disagree with it. Now I completely disagree.
Okay, why?
I think because, well, there's a couple things. One, I think people have, and you don't need to be a Christian to believe this or not believe this, like people have, most people have about 2 or 3 things that they wish they would not do, but they're inclined to. Okay. So like in Christianese, we call that besetting sin. So for example, you bring up the porn thing, that's not a problem for me, but the propensity towards violence is a problem for me, right? So something happens, especially, something happens to one of the kids or something like that, that it's a real problem for me. And so as far as self-control goes, there's never going to come a time when that becomes automatic for me. So I don't think, like, when you're dealing with a besetting sin, I don't think it ever becomes automatic. I think you always have to be purposeful and be on guard against those weaknesses.
Yes, but there's a difference. There's a difference between being on the edge of the cliff and watching your footing and being cautious because you know you're likely to slip, and when you're sliding down the hill trying to struggle your way up. There is a difference. And when you're in the throes of fighting some temptation that you don't fight all the time, it can get really, really intense, and you're like, oh, I need some self-control. Yeah, and then eventually you can get to the point where it doesn't require so much self-control because you've gained in self-control.
Yeah, I did that. I think you're saying that as a person who, well, some of the stuff I'm not going to say on camera, but as a person who's never dealt with addiction, you can say that. Like, even if you look at the verses, temptation, why won't you leave me alone? That doesn't sound like somebody who was just like, cavalierly walking through and then, he gets, blindsided. This sounds like a guy who's been struggling a long time with whatever this issue is. Because he says, lurking around the corner everywhere I go. That means it's been a constant thing that he's been trying to avoid. I see. This doesn't look to me to be the type of guy who... It looks to me that he's dealing with a very specific issue that he is extremely vulnerable to, and that's why he sees it lurking every corner. Because we've been we were in a situation a couple days ago where apparently some woman did something that could be construed as sexual right in front of me, and she said I didn't even see it.
No, I cannot believe that.
Now, you were talking to me, I didn't even see it.
I totally forgot about that.
You know what I'm saying? But like, if there would have been a dude, because we were in Victoria's Secret, but if there was a dude who like smacked his girlfriend or something like that, I would see. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when you have like an issue, you see it everywhere, and when you don't have an issue, you don't see it even if it's in front of you. So that's why, like.
Yeah, I don't have an issue, but I would have it. I would see if someone smacked a woman in public. Well, I don't have a problem with.
Yeah, but there are things that I see that you don't see all the time.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. As far as, so that's all I'm saying is that it looks to me like he's genuinely been fighting this issue, and I think he knows he's gonna lose. And so I my will or my won't. Constant pressure tests my will or my won't. my self-control escapes from me still. I do think there's a lot of value though in you saying, you know, it's like I tell people all the time, like, you know, when you're getting shot at is the wrong time to put on your helmet. You should put on your helmet before you get shot at. So I do think there's a lot of value in that self-accountability of saying, like, I need to, you know, if you fall into, I do this. I do postmortems a lot, and I do my own kind of debriefs a lot, and I think they're important. Like, I don't, you know, there was a situation that happened, and I was about to get very bloody, and it's interesting. Like, I'm just now, I feel like, recovering from that situation, and that happened, I don't know, a month ago or something like that, and my biggest problem was that I was not able to, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. My biggest problem was I wasn't able to solve the problem in the way that I'm normally able to solve those problems. So anyway, my point is, like, when it comes to temptations and things like that and stuff that we can't get over, I do think there's a lot of importance in saying, if you know that you have these issues, if you know that you're an alcoholic, for example, I'm just bringing up, you know you're an alcoholic and you've got 2 ways to go home. Don't drive by the bar, take the long way home. Like, create strategies for yourself. But what happens is when people want to give in to temptations that they've been fighting in, they start creating situations where they fall into it. So it's interesting because in verse 2 he says, "Hypocrite, how could you be so cruel and expect my faith in return? Resistance is not as hard as it seems when you close the door." See, verse 2 sounds like you. So verse 2 is his inner dialogue, I think, after he fell into the temptation. Look what he's saying to himself. "Hypocrite, how could you be so cruel and expect my faith in return?" So maybe my faith, maybe that's self-control talking to him. Right? Maybe
so,
because he's saying self-control, I need you the most. Right? In verse 1, he says, I'm lacking self-control. Don't turn your back on me now. But then I think self-control is saying to him, you hypocrite, how could you be so cruel and expect my faith in return? Meaning me coming through for you. How could you expect me to do that when you're flirting around with this
resistance?
This
it's
thing?
not as hard as it seems when you close the door.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Resistant. Yeah, and it's this very simple thing like, hey, just resist it and just close the door to the temptation. It won't be as hard as it seems. Well, I think that's true and that's false. I think when you close the door, that works, but it's a hell of a lot of work to close that door. Right? And a lot of people who, and of course, this guy's a rock star. He's in a band and it's talking about betrayal. So I'm going to assume he's talking about cavorting with women because that's a problem for a lot of dudes. And when you're in a band as big as Dream Theater, they're literally every corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are legendary people. So, as far as temptation goes, I think he is dealing with that at every corner for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Wow. Yeah, and then this line too. I thought you could control life, but it's not like that. There are things you can't control. I think that's a really good and important line. There was something I was listening to the other day, and it was talking about that. You know, like, there are things within your day and within your life that you can control. And you have to do your damnedest to make sure that you pick the right, out of the 2 options or 3 options, you pick the best one that's on the table, the healthiest one that's on the table, and the one that's going to get you closer to the person that you're trying to be or would like to be. But a lot of times there are other things that are just outside of your control. There's nothing that you can do. You can't change it. You can't make it go away. You can't, it is there. And so you just have to deal with what's there. If you can make the adjustments, make the adjustments. But there's lots of things in life you can't control, and stressing about those things and being angry and upset that you can't straighten those things out, it'll just put you in a whirlwind when it can be avoided. You just say, okay, that's out of my control. I'm going to leave it over there.
Yeah. I mean, but that's why self-control is so important, because for the most part, you can control yourself. Although I do believe, and this might be controversial, but I do believe there comes a time in certain situations where you cannot control yourself. And I hold people responsible for all the acts that you did to get yourself to that point. So, for example, when a person is ossified drunk, they're still conscious of themselves to a degree, but their ability to control themselves, I believe, is seriously hampered. So I generally don't hold people responsible for what they do or say when they're drunk, but I do hold them responsible for getting to that point. So especially if they're a veteran of alcohol and they know how alcohol affects them, then so self-control, it's one of those things. Like some people like. You're kind of like that, right? Like, but here's my question: does that work for you? Like the simplistic sort of simplicity is not always bad. It's one of the things that kind of like I go back and forth on a lot because my mind is, whatever. But like, does that work? Is it one of those things? Is it kind of like a heuristic where you go, okay, like this is easy, I can just stop, and then you stop, or is it? This is easy, I should stop, and then you start condemning. Like, how does that work?
It depends on what the thing is. So let's say, if I'm dealing with, like there's one thing in my life that's always been a problem, like from as far back as I can remember. It's been a weakness of mine. And so it's like, okay, sometimes when that is, I don't know, it almost feels like it goes through phases where, and I think that's where the Bible talks about, and maybe I'm not answering your question, but I think the Bible it basically talks about, like kind of building when it's the right season. And so there are times where that temptation or that weakness of mine is not so prevalent, and it's very easy for me to just push it away and just not go with it. But then there are other times where when it's a particularly rough season, with that, it doesn't necessarily mean my situation around me is rough. It just means that I'm having a rough time with that weakness. And when I'm in that spot, it's like, if I haven't been building during the other time to kind of strengthen myself, then I end up, in not a good space. And then, so once I find that I've given into my weakness, then I have that kind of condemning feeling. I've been really trying to work myself out of that because it's very unhelpful. I agree that it never does any good, which we've said that a billion times, but I've been, actually realizing that it doesn't do any good because you end up like kind of like just like sitting as a victim instead of saying, okay, I got to do something about this. So did that answer your question? I don't think I did.
No, it did. Because in the middle, I think like if you look at the middle, the guy says that I haven't behaved as I should. And then the woman says, everything you need is around you. The only danger is inside of you. And then the man says, I thought you could control life, but it's not like that. There are things you can't control. And then the next thing goes, let's stare the problem right in the eye. It's plagued me from coast to coast.
Yeah.
But then it says, racing the clock to please everyone, all but the one who matters the most. Reflections of reality are slowly coming into view. How in the hell could you possibly forgive me after all the hell I put you through? So that seems to me to be about the lifestyle, the rock star lifestyle. Little bit of infidelity / you're not there.
Yeah.
You're not there because this company wants a tour or this band wants you to promote them or whatever. You want to please all those. It was funny because there's like this season in our family right now is about really self-reflection and self-improvement, I think. And so we're listening about like, the 5 different narcissistic parents. And I kept listening to all the descriptions and I was like, yes, this is great. I'm not one of those people. And then I forgot what she called it. She said, I'm going to call it something. She didn't call it this. She called it something technical, but she called it like the hero narcissist, like the guy that goes out and saves the world and everybody thinks they're a really great person. And then their kids get shortchanged and the kids start resenting the dad because everybody they run into is like, oh, you saved me, you helped me, blah blah blah, and then the kids are shorted, and I was like, fuck, because I have a pretty like brutal self-assessment, and so when they were explaining the other times of narcissism, I'm like, nope, and then they said that, and I'm like, shit. because that was pretty much my life before we got married. That's one of the reasons why, you know, you always ask me, like, sometimes the news will come on or whatever, and you'd be like, oh, do you ever miss, you know, whatever. And I'm like, no. Like, because, like, I could feel it, and, you know, I mean, the fact of the matter is, you know, I was married before, you know what I'm saying? And it didn't work. And, you know, obviously, when you look at Shorty and her body of work, it's very easy to not look at yourself and go, I mean, she's great. But, like, you have to account for that.
Yep.
Like, you know, you selected occupations that took you away, and you didn't know if you were coming back. Nobody knew what you were doing. Like, you selected that. You made those decisions, you know? And, you know, you had your nice little endorphin kick when you saw shit in the news, and you're like, you're texting you. You know what I'm saying? Like, like you have to understand, like, and it's really deceptive because it looks like I'm doing, you know, whatever, and I'm doing things somebody else is doing, and I'm, you know, all the little subcultures that get created in those contexts where people like. And now I look back at it, I'm like, okay, because all of us had families, and yeah, I've said it before, none of us. I think there's one guy that still has everything intact. So, yeah, I was talking to one of my you know, buddies from the channel, and, you know, he was in the Marine Corps, and, like, those guys are like they're squared away. Like, the Marines are. I'm not just saying that because my brother. I mean, just historically. And, you know, we were talking about it. We were talking about the, you know, the shit that they say, how they brainwash you, make you feel like you're like a, you know, whatever. But, like, a lot of young men, like, need that. And we were talking about how, like, yeah, we got older. And now as we're older and we look back, we can go, oh, okay, like, what were we doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? But at the time, we weren't thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those, like, cool moments. It's like, okay, somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, yeah.
We didn't do the exact same thing, but it. And I was saying to him, like, all guys are the same. Like, he could have easily done what we were doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, smart dude. You know what I mean? Like, all you had to do was get fit, and you know what I mean. So, like, but at the time, there's all this, like, import to, you know, like, metaphorical import. Oh, you know, you earned blah. Now you look back at your mid-30s and you're like, they were G'ing me the whole time, bro. But I'm you know, so I was listening to that about the you know, the narcissism or whatever, and you know, I'm not a big guilt person. So I don't hang out in guilt. I'm like, shit. But what I did say was, well, I did get out. I mean, it got very, like, extreme, you know, but I finally did, and I was willing to deal with the consequences for it because, you know, at the end of the day, they're like, well, you signed a contract. Like, you are under contract. Like, you're not going to beat City Hall, right? You're not going to beat the United States. Like, if you sign it, that's it. But thank God I had people that you know, were good to me and overlooked, because I was dead to rights. I mean, there was no, you know, but
wow.
So I don't feel like, how could you forgive me for after all the hell I put you through to the kids? You know, I look at it more like, well, I'm here now, and that's the cool thing about kids is they're willing to forgive you. You know what I'm saying? As long as you'll be there. No, we haven't done King Diamond yet. So yeah. So I really that part of the song, like, kind of hit me kind of hard because. But at the same time, it's like I told my buddy, it was like, yeah, but if we didn't do it as young men, then that would be in our minds now. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, I would be completely 100%. Intolerable. Like, if I never, you know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I know, yeah.
So and I think it's the same thing with these guys. Like, you're a musician, you know, you're a badass musician, you know, you're legendary, and everybody believes that, but this guy's actually legendary. Like, I thought a certain thing about myself, and it turned out to be true. But the only way, like, I could validate that is if I put myself in this, you know, hard situation that 98% blah 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 bullshit that they tell you. That's because 98% of the other people sat around and said, "Why am I doing this shit?" Oh God. So in reality, those people were actually really smart. They're like, why? I remember one time I was like, yo, you gonna quit? I'm like, you gonna quit? And the guy goes, yeah, Vin, I'm gonna quit. I'm like, I can't believe you, bro. Like, I thought you were a different person. I started laying all this shit on it. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm gonna go home and eat a nice pizza and drink a beer and XYZ with my wife. You have at it with all these men. And he got up and he left. Okay. You know what? He's still married.
Oh, wow. He's the only one?
Well, I mean...
You said there was one that was still married, so I didn't know if I was the one.
There's one in our crew.
Oh.
That, you know... But
okay.
This guy, we were trying to get into the crew, and he just quit. He quit. Okay. Okay, so I think that's what the song is about. Like, that betrayal. He talked about betraying a friend and
yeah.
And he's saying, I won't, I swear, don't tell me you wanted me, don't tell me you thought of me.
Well, this is the lie. This one went into the lie.
Yeah, so that's the first part of the song. Now, the second part of the song, so the second song is called The Lie.
Or just Lie, actually.
Or Lie, sorry. And it literally, it's the very next one. So we're just going to go right into it. I know it's kind of a super long review, but it's Dream Theater, guys, and we got to respect the art form, right? So we're not going to rush through it, but okay. Daybreak at the bottom of the lake. It's 100 degrees. I can't breathe, and I won't get out till I figure out. Though I'm weak, I can't believe. Woo! Good rhyme scheme, bro. That's some hip-hop level shit. So you tell me, trust me, I can trust you. Just let me show you. But I got to work it out in a shadow of doubt because I don't know if I know you.
Woo!
This is weird. I almost feel like this song should have preceded the first song, but there should be a rhyme and reason to it. Doing fine. But so this looks like it's from the angle of the person...
that's maybe continuing on the relationship.
Yeah, that's still recognizing the relationship for sure.
Mm-hmm. Doing fine, but don't waste my time. Tell me what it is you want me to say. You sin, you win. Just let me in. Hurry. I've been out in the rain all day. So she wants to get back in with him?
Yeah, I think.
So you tell me, trust me. I can trust you as far as I can throw you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of the shadow of doubt because I don't know if I know you.
Right. So that's just like people are like he's trying to figure out like, is this somebody I can trust? Is this somebody I can be with? Or what's the deal here?
Look at the chorus. Don't tell me you wanted me. Don't tell me you thought of me. I won't. I swear I won't. Did. I'll try. I swear I'll try. Lie.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it just seems to be about the betrayal and not being able to trust somebody, and then that's a very, very difficult, because how do you know? We had this conversation 2 days ago where people were saying once a cheater, always a cheater. Mm-hmm. And I said, that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you mean? I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you were like, I said, well, you know what they say about people. Once a cheater, always a cheater. And Vin is like, who says that? I was like, I mean, I've heard it. He's like, who? Sorry, who? And then I said, I listed off the two people I heard say it. Both of them were women. Speaking about men.
Yeah, and yeah. So, you know, it's not as easy as people want to make it out to be. You know, like, because people do change. They really, really do. And so we you know, Beyonce, you know, we talked about that. Like, she stayed with Jay-Z after he had his bout of infidelity. And what's his face? Will Smith and Jada Pickett. We didn't talk about this, but this is on the other side. Will Smith and Jada Pickett.
Yeah, I saw something was happening about that.
She slept with some dude that was like 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? She's like 50.
Oh my
God,
that's
and
so gross.
they had a conversation, and they're still together. Will Smith and Jada, and she called it an entanglement, and it was we had an entanglement, and she was laughing, and Will Smith was crying, and
why was she laughing?
Well, I mean, I think it was
uncomfortable?
nervous laughter. I don't think it. I mean, you're coming on TV talking about you slept with a 20-year-old when you're 50. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think she was nervous laughing, but he was hurt. He cried in the thing, and of course, everybody made a meme about it, made fun of him. Cause
I saw the meme.
Dudes aren't allowed to cry over that.
I saw a meme going around,
Yeah.
and I thought it wasn't real.
Yeah, No,
Because I couldn't believe people would be making fun of somebody in that situation.
If it's a
I'm
man,
like, I just
course.
thought it was like, I'm like, oh, there's probably some movie where he gets cheated on in the movie, and then that's what the meme's all about. I didn't know people were saying, mocking someone in that situation. That's horrible.
Oh yeah. Well, look. I lost respect for Will after that. See? That's how
he stayed.
Yeah. Right? And it's the same thing with Beyonce. Beyonce stayed with Jay. People lost respect for her. Because, you're supposed to be an independent woman, blah, 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 blah. She's like, yeah, I'm going to prioritize my relationship. And it's the same thing with Will Smith. He's like, I'm going to prioritize the relationship. But if you do that, people are going to lose respect for you. That's why you can't be a person. And I don't think that DJ is bad for that. That's just how men are. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, me, I interpreted that situation differently because I know what it's like to be Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh God, that's awful.
But I understand. But I also understand, like, if people knew all the shit that I dealt with with that previous situation, people would not respect it at all. Dudes wouldn't respect it at all. And
you're right.
I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't give a fuck, but I understand.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not, like, people. That's what I'm saying. It's not easy, and that's why I was saying, like, a lot of people throw away relationships that they otherwise would have stayed in because they don't want to look bad. And it's like, to me, when I'm doing that, well, I mean, honestly, I wasn't really doing that arithmetic with Shorty, because if it was me, I'd have been like, yeah, I'm out of here. But God said, no, you can't. So I was like, oh, I got it. There it is. And God was like, yeah, you got it, but you can't. He said, take that assignment in Kentucky and get out of Dodge. And so we did. I took the family, and I'm like, all right, we're out of here. Let's get a change of scenery. But so when people, he says, I had gotten used to being a soul destroyed. She comes in apparently to fill the void. All dogs need a leash, and at least I'll forget it. Yada, yada, yada. So those things are hard. And I don't think that infidelity necessarily has to be fatal to a relationship. But consistent infidelity and inconsistent lack of change is where you pull the trigger. And what's the number? 2 times, 3 times, 9 times? I don't know. I don't know what the number is. I just know that it's not as simple as, once a cheater, always a cheater. Yeah, people change. So, it appears to me that Jay has changed, and then he learned from the mistake, and they're moving on, and they're stronger for it. But obviously those are rare and not the consistent. And that's why even Jesus had a very strict marriage ideal. But even Jesus said, well, in the case of porneia, I'll allow you to divorce. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even he knows.
I was
that's
watching
too
this
much
thing
for a
where
lot
it
of
was
people.
talking about when, if one person cheats in a relationship and how that affects the other person, and how even if you decide to stay and you decide to work it out, like, there's still that, like, gaping wound that's always, like, there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's like you're with the person, but it's not.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. And it's different. I hate to say this, but it's different for guys and girls. It really, really is, because guys and girls generally relate to sex differently. Mm-hmm. So if a guy does that and the girl doesn't confront him, and she just kind of looks the other way and doesn't say anything, the guy is more likely to go, well, shit. Okay. But with women, there's that cultural layer of the whore title or the slut title or whatever that functions as a form of a control mechanism. Mm-hmm. Which is one of the benefits that you get when you run a society. Is men obviously run a society. I know a lot of people are freaking out because they're feminists, but at the end of the day, we still run American society. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. So we've got this nice little system where if a guy is cavorting all over the place, he's a player, he's celebrated. If a woman does it, she's a whore. Mm-hmm. So when you plug that into relationships, that gives the guy a lot of power. So, like, for example, if Will Smith would have kept it straight-faced, and if he would have said, yeah, you were a hoe that day, then she would have gotten memed. Right? She would have gotten memed if Will Smith would have kept it gully and said that. But because he didn't, then he got the meme. And part of that, to me, I was like, that's a real stand-up dude. to be willing to bear that cross, because he could have said all that shit, and he knows how social media works. All of us know. If you're have a camera in your face all the time, you know how media works, because you know that most people do not watch. I didn't watch the 2-hour special that they did on it. I watched a little 10-minute thing where she talked about her entanglement and him crying. That's all I saw. So he knew, but I think there's a big part of him that wants to protect her because he knows how women get treated. And if he would have said, "Oh, God, you're a hoe," blah 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 blah, and he would have kept it straight faced, then the shame would have been on her. So he wanted to bear that for her. And you know, I understand that a lot of dudes will not respect that. I understand that, but I looked at that and I said, "Holy shit, that's some gangster shit right there." What he just did. You know, but that goes into a whole different conversation about what a man really is and what we're really supposed to do as men, especially in our relationships. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, I am the way that I am with, you know, homegirl, which, you know, you're like, oh, you think that I'm like some 1 in a million person. There was a celebrity that did the same thing I did. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that I'm 1 in a million. Like a lot of guys are like that. It's just, they're not going to get the, you know, whatever, because most of the time they're guys. Listen,
it's not the same situation.
Just give me. Let me just say this: society. Well, we don't know Will's situation. I'm sure it was complex there too. But society, because society is run by men, society is not going to promote that as a male value trait, right? So that's all I'm saying. And so what I'm saying is there might not be a trillion dudes like me or Will, but there's a lot more than you think. But this society is not going to promote those men, so you're not going to see them. Because obviously, if we promote that, if we recast masculinity as a man protects his woman at all costs, including protecting her honor and dignity when she steps out on him like that, if we redefine masculinity that way, that would challenge so many men, and dudes know that they don't have the stones to be that kind of man. So that guy is never going to get promoted in our society, for the same reason that you're never going to see
that makes sense. American
society promote Malcolm. They're going to promote Martin for obvious reasons, right? So anyway, that's how I look at it. Very, very deep song.
Okay, one quick question. Why did he say
Sori is 1 in a million to be so chill about that? Now I think DJ, you misunderstood who was being chill and who was 1 in a million in the situation. But go ahead.
Okay. When he says, "I just want to talk about lifelong mistakes and you can tell your stepfather I said so," what is that supposed to mean?
I have no idea. Probably her stepfather did the same thing that he did, so she talked about it a lot. You know how people talk about how their parents were and all that other stuff? Yeah.
Okay, well, what do you give it? Are you doing an overall rating or are you rating them separately?
I
was going to rate them together.
I'm going to rate them together.
Okay. And what do you give it?
I am going to give it a 9.5. I don't like prog at all as a genre at all. So I don't expect high scores for the rest of the night because I don't like prog. I feel like it's too pretentious. However, there was enough regular, you know, if Ben Webb was here, somebody needs to reach out to Ben and tell him that he's no longer banned. I mean, when you talk about Shorty, many would not be okay with it. Just facts. That's
what I thought he originally said, but then, yeah.
Oh, well, she's not okay with it. You don't know about conversations we have offline, but we do it for the culture.
It depends on the situation.
That's also true.
There's some stuff that I'm really chill about that's unnatural, and then there are other things where I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, so it just depends.
That is true. Mm-hmm. That's very true. So you're right. You are 1 in a million on that. I agree. Okay. But there is enough like simple like chugga-lugga-lugga stuff to where, you know, that Ben Webb says, shout out to Ben Webb. Somebody reach out to Ben Webb, tell him he's no longer banned. But yeah, I like that. And I like the solos. I'm going to give it a 9.5. Both of them, both songs put together. It was really, really good subject matter. I didn't think we were going to talk this long about it. But
is this backwards? It's a 6 for me.
It's a straight 6. Holy moly.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
How come? Wow,
didn't,
Wakator.
It didn't flow to me. Like, it was kind of choppy, especially the first song was very choppy. It just, I just couldn't really get into it. And I didn't like it. And honestly, it was going to get a 5, but I bumped it to a 6 because they did a really good, like...
What didn't you like?
In between. I told you, like, it didn't... The cadence seemed off to me, like I couldn't get on it. It was, like, weird. And then I just didn't like it. It just was kind of meh to me. So,
Amy Lee says, Wakator, how could you? See, Wakator...
so sorry, Wakator.
Wakator was waiting for me to be the one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true, and it flipped.
KI is saying this is one of the... Yeah. This is what I don't understand about you. Like, you like the band, Dream Theater. You like Prague. This is one of their best songs, and you give it a 6. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, well...
Whatever you say,
I'm never going to lie to you.
All right. There you are, dear listener. You who are listening to this in the regular Vin and Sori channel, who are not going to be in the stream, we bid you adieu. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you later at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you...
Moral of the story is, stop lying.
Are in the stream.
Don't cheat.
We're coming right back with another banger.
Gain self-control.
Stop cheating. Be forgiving, but be wise. Mm-hmm. There you are, dear listener. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. I was about to quit that. I was about to hit finish, which would have been an error.
Wouldn't have been so bad, though.
Sori is a complex person. You have no fucking idea.
What? You said that
I didn't
you
say
had
that.
me figured out.
I didn't say that. Your girl said that.
I do think I'm complex. You said you had me figured out.
I do.
So I'm not that complex.
No. I mean, I figured out concurrence and other crazy theological ideas, and you're not more complex in the mind of God, right?
Okay.
Uh-huh. Tony in the house. Tony in the house.
Dream Theater.
DJ, we already did People Equal Shit. We did People Equal Shit literally as a second song all time we've ever done in the channel, bro.
It's fun. It's a fun watch, too, because that's the first time I ever heard anything that crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
you were like, what? They're allowed to say that shit?
Yeah. They are cursing. I don't know. By that point, was I cursing yet?
No. Well, you started cursing after Lone Survivor.
Yeah.
That's when we did that. That's when I did that 5-minute mile.
True. Yep. I thought
that
you
was
died.
like a day or two before I had to. I got paged like a week later. I was out. I was on the plane.
Sometimes I think of when you would go running and like how much running you were doing was insane.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of running. I needed it. Are we doing Opeth or Nevermore next? Well, the next song that we're doing, according to DJ Wakator, is Dream Theater again. This Dying Soul live at, it says Budokan, I think. Budokan. I think I'm pronouncing that word correctly. I'm not sure, inshallah. So that's the next one, guys. Live at Budokan. Opeth is coming, though. Oh, Michelle, you have news. Are you engaged?
Nope.
She's not?
Nope. She is having a girl.
She's having a girl!
A girl!
Hey!
Yay!
Yeah!
Yeah!
Yes! How did you know?
I'm prophetic. Also, I saw the comment section.
Boop, 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 boop. Hot fire burn on Babylon system.
Shout out to all the ladies.
Boop, boop, boop. Vin, Michelle has awesome news for you guys. Yes. That's crazy.
All right. Oh, I thought we had 61 down thumbs. I'm like, what? Okay.
Girl power.
Pull it up, babe. Dream Theater, This Dying Soul. Just remember our
Vin,
storage situation.
for all the years that I've been following this channel, your first marriage sounds so similar to my first marriage. It's uncanny. Most people don't understand why I stuck around either. Yep. There's lots of us, Briz. There's lots of us, bro. Shout out to the big homie Dan. There's a lot of dudes that were doing that shit. The Sori thinks I'm like Gandhi or something. I'm like, there's a lot of dudes like this, but you know, she hates men, so
you took it next level.
She has to say that I'm like some exception so she can continue to hate dudes. All right, guys.
I don't hate them like I used to.
Yeah, that's true. Orion has changed that.
Well, Orion a little bit, but more just realizing, you know what?
Or
Tis true. We're all sinfuls.
Or Kevin's
nasty, sinful people.
Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels is.
It really took
I was
Kevin
like, wait,
Samuels.
not another one. Oh my god, not another one.
Yeah. It took
Yep.
Kevin Samuels. Yeah. That's good.
Okay, Dream
good.
Theater.
It's good to know that. It's good to know that, my wife. It's good to know.
Well, you aren't going to sit around and talk about how horrible women were.
No.
Right.
No, I'm not going to do that.
So?
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, then.
Yes, Brooke, unfortunately, the big homie passed away in his sleep.
Yeah.
It's not good news, man. As a matter of fact, interesting, like, Shorty was over here before we started shooting, and Jay had sent me a text. And, we were in the middle of a Fortnite jihad, and obviously we have to prioritize Fortnite over our friends. So I hadn't checked, but I saw that Jay, so I looked.
Jay sent it too?
Yeah, that's how I found out.
I found out because Steve messaged you.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, man. And I just kept playing. I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to ruin you.
Oh,
Ruin
I
your day.
saw you do that. And
Yeah.
I said, what? What happened?
Yeah.
I wish you would have just told me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mike
so-
Portnoy's son Max is in a good new band called Tala. That's legit.
Okay.
Yeah, Brooke. Joey passed
soul.
away in his sleep today at 46 years old, and then
It's alive.
Mike from Metal Church passed away yesterday at 55. All right, guys. We're heading right back in. More Dream Theater.
Get the link because it's the live one you want?
Yeah, I got it. We're good.
All right, cool.
DJ Wackator, ladies and gentlemen. We are right back.